Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mark Smith. I'm Group Managing Director of People2People in Australia and Frog Recruitment in New Zealand. It's Friday afternoon, 12:30. That means we're here with P2P Live, Australia's only employment and job market update for all states and territories. So it is, look, I thought it was going to be a fabulous day, summer's day here in Sydney. And once again, we're here with the grey old slightly overcast, 1 to 2 millimeters and about 27 degrees. It's the same weather for all of summer, besides the last 2 days. So today, P2P Live, we're going to actually go through our regular numbers section, and today we'll be looking at the NAB economic update that was released earlier this week. Some really interesting numbers on business confidence, and I wanted to share that with you and how that would actually translate into the jobs and employment market. We've got 3 jobs that we also need to fill today to start on Monday, so we'll take a look at that. We'll be having a chat to Krystal from our Melbourne team, where she's got 3 tips to update your CV. It's a new year. Maybe you'll be looking at finding a new position. Krystal's got 3 tips for you to update that CV. And finally, we'll be looking at the results of last week's Twitter poll. So let's jump into it. Let's have a look at this week's numbers section. So before we get started in this week's numbers, a shout out to National Australia Bank and their regular economic update. Some fabulous information from NAB. We'll make sure I'll grab the link to the complete document and pop it in the comments. But there's 4 charts that I want to take everybody through. The first one is business conditions. And the reason I wanted to show everybody this is that the trend and seasonally adjusted lines for January and the last few months, following the remarkable improvement in business conditions and in the second half of 2021. So you can see the initial decline with the pandemic and the first wave of COVID. Then as we came out, we adjusted, and you can see the improvement and very much the recovery that everybody was expecting. In the last little while, though, the second wave has really dented business conditions, and you can see the trend line in black and the seasonally adjusted in red. That seasonally adjusted, we're still in the positive zone, so it's not that bad. But as compared to the recovery in the middle of last year, well behind. Overall, though, anecdotally, our clients are suggesting that business conditions are good, and everybody is expecting very good 2022. Let's have a look at business confidence. And this is the second chart by state. And you can see that the only, so the 2 graphs, business conditions is black, business confidence, as those who have responded to the survey, it's all in positive, except for Tasmania, where business confidence has dropped. I have no reason for that. If I was to guess, I would say that it is around closed borders and tourism, but that is a guess. I don't know that. We don't have an operation in Tasmania at this stage, so I don't have any anecdotal results. But look at business conditions, very strong in WA. Certainly that's reflected in our Western Australian business. It's extremely difficult to find good talent in WA. Queensland, very strong. New South Wales, Vic, SA, overall, it's looking good. Business conditions are much better than the way people are feeling about it, though. But I think we'd see those 2 lines come together as we move into the recovery and the lockdowns are over. Let's move quickly to the next one. And this is business confidence as overall, and you can see same as business conditions. And the next graph for me, Jacob. And how does this all translate into labour costs? I thought this was remarkable. The main reason I wanted to show this was the NAB survey. The NAB survey is the red line. The black line is the ABS, the Bureau of Statistics wage price index, which if you are a regular you regularly watch P2P Live, I bring those statistics on a very regular basis. And it's what most government agencies do quote. But what I find most interesting here is the enormous gap between what the survey responses are saying in terms of costs and what the ABS are saying. This is what our experience is at People to People. We're experiencing a lot of movement in salaries, particularly when companies are having to hire fresh talent into their teams. They're having to go to market, and to attract that talent, they need to attract using the salaries. It's not the only lever that you've got. You've got other more intangible, like well-being and flexibility and all those type of things. But money is certainly starting to play a much bigger part. And this survey reinforces what our experience is that people are expecting or are experiencing 4 to 5% increase in their labour costs, whereas the ABS is suggesting people are only getting 2. Very interesting. So that's it for the numbers. We'll do it all again next week. So now let's quickly move to Fill Job Friday. We've got 3 jobs that we need to fill. So here they are. Here's the first one. 3 jobs to fill by Monday. The first one, purchasing officer, Ingleburn, New South Wales, $40 an hour. So it's an immediate start. It's a 1-month position. And there is the potential to go permanent in this role, which is fantastic. And we're looking for a purchasing officer who can work closely with internal stakeholders and has experience with Dynamics and Office 365. Peter Altamore is the man that you need to speak to. He's in our Parramatta team here in Sydney, 02-8270-9781. That's a purchasing officer. Call him today. You could start on Monday. The next role that we have is an executive assistant based in our Melbourne office, $43 an hour. That's a sensational rate, 4 to 6 weeks initially. There is the possibility to go permanent in this role. There's a hybrid working arrangement with this one. So they're based in the CBD, but you can be working from home as well. You need to have experience as an EA working for or at a CEO level with a large corporate or within the public sector. Chelsea Dale is the person you need to speak to in the P2P Melbourne office. Her details at the bottom of the page there, 90987422. Here's the last job for a start on Monday, Brisbane-based. $33 to $35 an hour, a return to work customer advisor. Immediate start through to June of this year. You must have a tertiary qualification in occupational therapy, psychology, or human resources, and you've got to be able to resolve complex problems and identify alternatives and solutions. Leanne Lazarus is the person that you need to speak to in our Brisbane office, 07 3118 0125. Give her a call. You could be starting on Monday. So here are the summary of the hot jobs this Friday. Purchasing officer here in Sydney, Peter Altamore in our Parramatta office. An EA role at a CEO level, Chelsea Dale in Melbourne. And finally, the RTW customer advisor with Leanne Lazarus in our Brisbane team. The links to those jobs are all in the comments. We can see your comments, by the way. So if you do have any questions at all, jump in there and I'll be able to respond to those in real time. Okay, now we got to talk to Krystal in Melbourne about these tips for your CV. So while we get there, we do have another position from Adelaide. It's a video this time, and it's from Peter Seaman, the manager of our Adelaide office, if you wanted to play the video, and we'll have a chat to Krystal.
Are you looking for a full-time production supervisor position with a fantastic South Australian company? We are working with a well-known automotive company who manufacture locally and supply the automotive industry around Australia. This is a great locally owned family organisation with a national presence. Join the team and support a team of 30 production workers and be a part of their growth story. Make a positive impact on the team. If you are interested in hearing more about this role, please contact Peter Seaman on 08 8317 4801.
Okay, at this time of year, a lot of people are starting to look out there in the marketplace, looking for a new opportunity, and they may not have looked at their CV for a long time. So I'm here today having a chat to Krystal from the P2P Melbourne office, and she's got 3 tips on how to update your CV so you've got the best chance of getting that new opportunity. G'day, Krystal.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm very good. How's Melbourne?
Melbourne's sunny. Melbourne's beautiful. Are you jealous?
Yeah. Well, why would somebody from Sydney be jealous of Melbourne? I don't know. Where are we going with that, Krystal?
Well, look, it's sunny, 28 degrees for the next week, no rain.
There you go. There's the reason. There's the reason right there. Right. So you've got 3 tips for us. What have you got?
Absolutely. So as you were saying, Mark, this time of year everyone's looking, but also the Great Resignation. There are people that are ready to leave and may not have looked at their CV for quite some time. So I thought it was a great time to pass on my 3 tips for when updating your CV. So the first one is addressing gaps in your employment history. I guess particularly over the last 2 years, there have been many job seekers out there that have been affected by COVID or lockdown. So yeah, it's just super important to be transparent on your CV, whether you've been affected by COVID or not. Hiring managers, recruitment managers, they'll likely find out whether your timeline doesn't stack up. So just being really open and honest on your CV, that's super important. And just to remember, a gap on a CV isn't a bad thing. Things happen, life happens, and addressing it early will just make sure that there's no awkward conversation.
Right, I think, Krystal's frozen there for a second. We have, whilst we're getting Krystal back online there, I just wanted to quickly mention that we have those 3 positions that I mentioned for Fill Job Friday are all on LinkedIn. So you can jump on there, you can apply for those jobs on LinkedIn. The other thing is that you might be on a bus right now, or you might be listening to this and on your phone. We have the ability to accept your application just as a video. So you might want to jump on and say, "Hey, I'm a production supervisor. I'm looking for a new opportunity. Here's my background." The way we do that is through Vply. So Vply is a video application software. You can see the link to the jobs with Vply in the comments there, and you can quickly apply to those roles just with video. So jump on and do that as well. Okay, do we have Krystal back at all, Jacob? I don't think we do. So so we might just have to leave it there with Krystal. We'll get her back next week with those 3 tips. Poll from last week, the Twitter poll. Here it is. Given the rise of Omicron in Australia, are you still looking for a new role? So is this a real thing? I'm quite surprised by this. So it's about a third. A third of the country says, yeah, no, mate, I'm ready. I'm ready to go right now. No, happy where I am for another 35%, and about 30% are unsure. So we'll see what happens. So I would suggest that at least 60% of the Australian population, based on our Twitter poll and LinkedIn poll, I should say, are actually open to hearing about opportunities. So that's good to know. If you're interested in opportunities, then please jump onto our website, send us a message, or pop a message in the comments, and we'll get back to you pretty quickly. So here's this week's poll. I thought we'd do this one because we were having some tips on how to update your resume, or is it your CV? Do you know the difference between a resume and a CV? Let us know. On LinkedIn and on Twitter. So at People2People for Twitter, LinkedIn /People2People. You'll find us there in the latest post. Let us know what you think a CV or a resume is. Well, you don't need to let us know, but do you really know the difference? Okay, that's it, everybody. We'll see everybody again next week, same time, 12:30. What's the sample size of the poll? Mitchell, I can see that on LinkedIn. I think normally the number of responses that we have is between 700 to 800 responses, and that's a combination of both. We do it on social, and it's a combination of between Twitter and LinkedIn. We also do run the polls in New Zealand. We don't get quite as many, but we get between 300 to 500 responses on Frogs on Friday for New Zealand as well. Okay, thanks for that. And we'll see everybody again, same time, 12:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time for P2P Live. We'll see you then.